It was a great meeting, and Kim Jong-un will turn down, and I will tell, Chairman Kim will turn that country into a great, successful country.
That was President Trump Wednesday night outlining his vision of North Korea should the thaw in relations with the world continue. Our next guest believes the two Koreas will someday be unified and that vast business opportunities lie ahead and north of the DMZ. Joining us right now is Dr. Joseph Kim. He is the CEO of Inovio Pharmaceuticals. Dr. Kim, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Great to be here.
And you've been to Korea 70 times in the past 15 years. Tell us about what you're seeing, how it's changed, and what kind of opportunity you do envision.
Absolutely. Thank you. Great to be here. Koreans are, right now, especially in Seoul, is very buzzed with excitement and great optimism of peace. You know, Seoul is about 15 miles away from the border and within the artillery range of the military of North Korea. So they're always under a threat, but you know, it's a vibrant economy with, you know, it is the 12th largest economy in the world. And the prospects of having the unified Korea, I think, is a great thing.
So you believe it? You believe that perhaps he will denuclearize?
I believe so, because there's so much opportunity with that. Because as a hermit kingdom, you cannot continue the way it is.
Right. Oh, how big of an impediment is China in this situation? I mean, if you look at South Korea and you look at their allies versus North Korea and their allies, and you see South Korea is completely predicated on, you know, the global supply chain, especially when it comes to technology. And when you look at their neighbors to the north, it's more minerals, resources, and that's more in the Chinese camp, what they want, especially for their ambitions and their 2025 plan. So where does this play out in China's role in that?
Well, China is absolutely important for the Korean Peninsula. China is South Korea's largest trading partner right now. It's not the U.S. And Japan and North Korea and China really encompasses that neighborhood. It really is going to be the progress in Korean Peninsula is going to be predicated on the progress between the U.S. and China relations. China is the big brother for North Korea.
So I have a question about, so here in the States, just over 50% of Americans think that the deal that was made between Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un was the right move. It was a step in the right direction, and they think that this is going to be the future of a great relationship. How do people in South Korea feel about this? Do they have the same level of trust and optimism as we do here, or is it a different landscape?
I think it's a guarded optimism. I think they feel that it is a strong step forward. Obviously, a lot of hard work needs to be done. But the way it has been for the last 50 years is not sustainable. So they believe the true leadership from Kim Jong-un and President Donald Trump perhaps will provide the out-of-the-box thinking and progress.
In terms of the economy, the limited economy within North Korea, what would North Korea bring to the rest of the world? It's hard to separate what is going on in terms of the nuclear aggression, the human rights abuses within that country by the Kim regime. But what would the people in North Korea bring to the rest of the world in terms of economies, in terms of technology, even intellect?
Well, it is believed that North Korea has one of the largest reserves for rare earth minerals, for instance. And it is thought to have about $6 trillion of minerals within their country. Obviously, South Korea and North Korea had the same GDP in 1976. And so the government actually does matter. The policies matter. I think the better or even unified Koreas can utilize the resources and the vibrant economy of the South, along with potential larger labor pool from North Korea to make the collective Koreas even better.
So minerals, energy, you also point to the South Korean companies Hyundai and Samsung as perhaps possibility waiting in the wings for North Korea to open up. What kind of business would open up?
Well, I think a lot of the industries, growth industries, technology, just think about it. There's really no infrastructure in North Korea. So a lot of the tech and infrastructure, roads, construction to start with. I think President Trump had a promotional video with condos in the coast of North Korea. It's a blank canvas.
And we should point out that you're the CEO of Inovio.
Right.
Where's the growth at Inovio right now?
Well, Inovio is a global biotech company. We have businesses in Korea. We have partnerships in China. We're seeking partnerships all across Europe and Japan and elsewhere in Asia. So we're developing new cancer therapies based on empowering the patient's own immune system called immunotherapies. We have pivotal studies globally going on for treating cervical precancer and cancers.
All right, we'll leave it there. Dr. Kim, it's good to see you.
Great.
Thanks so much for joining us this morning. Dr. Joseph Kim there.